Long before the moon learned to glow above the red earth of West Africa, before the drums carried messages between villages, there stood a forest so ancient that even the elders spoke of it in lowered voices. They called it Igbo Alaro, the forest of whispers. The trees there did not simply grow, they leaned, they listened, and sometimes they answered. At the edge of that forest sat the village of Akanbi, a peaceful settlement cradled between golden savanna grasses and a winding river that shimmered like a silver serpent beneath the sun. By daylight, Akanbi pulsed with life. Children chased goats through narrow footpaths. Women pounded yam beside clay huts. Hunters sharpened their spears under mango trees, while elders told stories thick with wisdom and warnings. But when dusk approached, the laughter faded. Doors closed, fires burned brighter, and no one, absolutely no one, stepped toward the forest, because the villagers believed something inside it did not sleep. They believed the forest remembered those who entered it, and sometimes chose not to return them. And for generations that belief remained unchallenged, until the night a boy named Sadiq heard his name carried by the wind. Sadiq was 12 seasons old, though he carried curiosity older than the oldest baobab tree in the village square. He was slender, quick-footed, with eyes that seemed to drink every detail of the world around him. While other boys dreamed of becoming hunters or warriors, Sadiq dreamed of understanding the stories hidden behind the stories. His grandmother, Mama Zainabu, often said he was born listening to voices others could not hear. Sadiq lived with her in a small hut woven from mud and straw near the outer boundary of the village, dangerously close to the forbidden forest. Every night she reminded him, "Child, curiosity is a beautiful fire, but fire can cook your food or burn your home." Sadiq would nod respectfully, but inside him, questions grew like wild vines. Why did no one ever enter the forest? Why did elders avoid speaking its true name? Why did drums sometimes stop playing when the wind blew from that direction? And most of all, why did he sometimes feel like the forest was watching him back? One evening, as crimson sunlight spilled across the horizon, the entire village gathered beneath the massive Iroko tree, where Chief Balogan Adeyemi sat on a carved wooden stool, his staff resting across his lap like a symbol of both authority and memory. It was the annual gathering where elders retold the history of Akanbi to the younger generation. Sadiq squeezed between older boys, leaning forward as Chief Adeyemi began speaking in a voice roughened by time. "Many seasons ago," the chief said slowly, "our ancestors discovered this land after fleeing drought and war. They believed they had found peace until the forest spoke." A hush settled over the gathering. The first hunters who entered it returned with their minds shattered. Some spoke of glowing shadows. Some claimed they walked for hours only to find themselves standing where they began. An elder woman raised her trembling hand and added softly, "And some never returned at all." Children shifted uneasily. Even the fire seemed to dim. Chief Adeyemi continued, "The forest is not evil, but it is not meant for us. It belongs to forces older than memory itself." Sadiq felt a chill ripple through him. Not fear, something else. Recognition. That night, as the village surrendered to sleep beneath a blanket of stars, Sadiq lay awake beside the dim glow of a dying lantern. Outside, insects hummed their endless nighttime songs. Then he heard it, soft, almost swallowed by the wind. "Sadiq." His body stiffened. He sat up slowly, heart thudding against his ribs like a talking drum. Silence followed. He told himself it was imagination. He lay down again. Moments later, "Sadiq." This time the voice drifted clearly through the cracks of the hut walls. It sounded neither male nor female, young nor old. It sounded like wind passing through hollow wood, carrying memory. Sadiq crept toward the doorway and stepped outside. The night air wrapped around him like cool water. The village slept peacefully, but at the far edge of the clearing, the forest swayed gently as if breathing, and for a fleeting moment he swore he saw faint blue light flicker between the trees. The following morning, Sadiq's eyes carried shadows from sleeplessness. As Mama Zainabu prepared millet porridge over a clay stove, she studied him silently. "You heard something last night," she finally said. Sadiq froze. "How did you know?" She stirred the pot slowly. "Because your grandfather heard it once too." The wooden spoon stopped moving. Sadiq leaned forward eagerly. "What happened to him?" Mama Zainabu's gaze drifted toward the forest line visible through their doorway. "He followed it." The air inside the hut grew heavy. "And?" Sadiq whispered. She swallowed before answering. "He returned, but he was not the same man I married." Sadiq's pulse quickened. "What do you mean?" He spoke of a place where time bends, where voices belong to those who walked before us and those who are yet to be born. Her voice lowered to a trembling murmur. "If the forest ever calls you, you must never answer." But Sadiq's mind was already drifting back to the voice and how it spoke his name like it knew him. Sadiq tried to ignore the pull he felt whenever he walked near the forest boundary. Yet strange occurrences began following him like shadows. Birds fell silent whenever he approached certain trees. The river occasionally reflected symbols he could not recognize before returning to normal ripples. And one afternoon, while helping gather firewood, he discovered something carved into the trunk of an ancient tree near the forest edge. A symbol. A spiral surrounded by 3 small crescent shapes. The moment his fingers brushed the carving, a gust of wind burst from the forest interior, carrying whispers layered upon whispers. And again, "Sadiq." He stumbled backward, heart racing. But instead of running, he felt drawn closer. That evening marked the Festival of 3 Moons, a celebration held once every 12 harvest cycles to honor ancestral spirits believed to watch over a Kanbi. Drummers gathered in the village square, torches burned brightly, dancers wore raffia skirts that rustled like dry leaves beneath rhythmic footsteps. But Sadiq found himself distracted. Each drumbeat echoed strangely in his ears, as if another rhythm answered from deep within the forest. While villagers sang and laughed, he noticed something unsettling. The forest was unusually still. No wind, no insects, no animal sounds. It felt as though the forest itself was listening to the festival, waiting for something. Then, suddenly, the wind returned, and beneath the drumbeats, the voice called again, clearer, closer. "Sadiq, come." As the festival reached its peak, Sadiq slipped away from the dancing crowd unnoticed. He walked toward the outer huts, toward the narrow footpath leading to the forbidden forest. The sunset painted the sky with violent streaks of orange and purple. Shadows stretched like reaching hands across the earth. With every step, memories of his grandmother's warning echoed inside his mind. But the voice sounded lonely, calling him not with command, but with need. When he reached the final boundary marker, a row of stones painted with sacred ash, he stopped. Behind him lay safety, family, everything he had ever known. Before him stood the forest entrance, where towering trees formed a natural archway that swallowed light. The voice whispered again, and this time it spoke words. "You are the one who remembers." Sadiq's breath caught. He did not understand why those words filled him with both fear and familiarity, but something inside him answered before his mind could stop it. He stepped across the boundary stones. The moment Sadiq entered, the air changed. The temperature dropped sharply. The scent of damp earth and ancient leaves surrounded him. Behind him, the village sounds faded completely, as though the forest had closed a door. Moonlight filtered through tangled branches, forming ghostly patterns across the ground. He turned back once. The village lights were already hidden by trees. He was alone. Then, suddenly, the ground beneath his feet pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Leaves rustled though no wind moved them, and from deeper inside the forest, a glowing mist began forming between the trees. The voice spoke again, now layered with dozens of echoes. "You came, just like before." Sadiq's heart pounded violently. Before? What did it mean, before? He took another step forward, and the path behind him vanished. As Sadiq moved deeper, he noticed shadows shifting along tree trunks. At first, he believed it was moonlight playing tricks on his eyes, until one shadow peeled itself away from a tree and reattached to another, then another, and another. His breath caught in his throat. He was being watched, not by animals, by something older. The mist ahead thickened, swirling slowly like water circling a drain. Symbols began appearing within it, the same spiral he had touched earlier. The forest floor trembled faintly beneath his feet, and then the voice spoke with chilling clarity. "You have crossed the first memory." The mist parted, revealing a narrow path glowing with pale blue light, stretching deeper into darkness. Sadiq hesitated only briefly. Then he stepped forward, and the forest swallowed him whole.